Bum, bum. Hello BookTube, it's Louise the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day wherever it is you are and whatever it is you're doing. Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to Friday the 8th of February and welcome to a grey day. Yes, weather update today is it's grey. Ooh, it's grey. Keeps raining, but not that exciting rain that you can look at and go, ooh, that's exciting. That's got weather involved. It's just grey, and then every so often it rains a bit. And I think this is going to be it for the rest of the day. It's a grey day, which means no laundry. No laundry whatsoever. In fact, we've had a really bad week for laundry. Yes, it's been cold and it's been wet, and that is not conducive to hanging out. Although they obviously had, that house there had a good sock day the other day, and I was like, I bet that felt good to get all of those socks out there. I'm not sure they're dry because, as I say, it was a bit cold, but obviously they aired a lot of socks. I was very pleased. That house over there, barely done anything this week, quite frankly. Lazy, some people would call it. Or doing it inside is the other thing. So that's the kind of the excitement of this week. There hasn't been any, really. Can I think of anything that I've done that's exciting this week? I had a friend over on Wednesday. We sat and we chatted. Have I got anything exciting this weekend? Oh, Benedict's got something exciting this evening. He has got his school disco. So my son is 10, final year of primary school before he goes up to secondary school in September. And they're having a school disco tonight. Didn't have one at Christmas, not having one at Easter. They're having one mid-February, but not Valentine's, because that would be weird, because they're 10. Although I'm sure there are some Valentine's crushes going on. Yes, so when I first mentioned it to him, see, Benedict had a terrible disco experience last time. He had a disappointing disco. That's what we called it in the end. We framed it as the disappointing disco of 2018. And so what happened? Well, it was a girl. It was going to have a girl involved, wasn't it? Yes. So girls, as they are wont, as our boys, said, yes, we will go to the disco together. Not as boyfriend and girlfriend, mummy. Why do people automatically think you are a boyfriend and girlfriend? No, we're just friends. You can be friends with the opposite sex. You can have friends that are girls, you know. I was like, okay. Not the first time somebody's asked, obviously. And he was like, I was like, right, fine. He was 9, remember? And he said it was terrible. He went to the disco and he thought he was basically going to go with her and they were going to probably stand at the side and diss everyone else because that's the kind of mood they were in. But she kind of just ignored him. So he went to the disco and he got completely ignored by this older girl because she was in the year above. Oh, crushing. So when I picked him up, he went, I don't want to talk about it. It's been awful. I was like, okay, we won't talk about it. It was a very disappointing disco experience. And he hated every minute of it, basically. Because when he went there, well, he won't tell me exactly what happened. Even now, it is still a taboo subject, the disco. And so when I said to him, oh, you've got a school disco coming up, he's like, I don't want to go. I hate school discos. They're awful. And I was like, well, this is a different school, different people. You don't have to go with a girl. You could go with one of your mates. You know, you could go with just friends. And actually, it's turned out there's going to be a couple of them. So his mates that he goes with, and they all hang around together and they talk kind of computer games, Fortnite. And they do the Fortnite dances. Yes, I can do a lot of the Fortnite dances, dear friends. And yeah, so they're going to go and they're going to talk, they're going to do Fortnite dances if they bother to do that. If not, they'll just lark around as lads do at discos. So yeah, so he's looking forward to it. It's an hour and a half. I think it's the longest disco he's been to. They're normally just an hour. But it's very exciting because it does mean that the husband and I can wander down to the pub. So drop him off, wander down to the pub, stroll back up to the school. An hour and a half later. I did worry that they'll kind of say, you know, parents have to come and stay. But no, we've got enough chaperones. Parents are not allowed to stay. I was like, wow, this is brilliant. This is great. So that's tonight. That's tonight's excitement. Yes, he's got school disco. And I said to him this morning, what are you going to wear? He went, I'll just put some clothes on. I was thinking of all the girls and some of the boys, all the girls planning their outfits, what they're going to wear, you know, how they're going to look, out of school uniform. I think you start doing that when you're 9 and 10, don't you? But no, wear your party dresses. But no, he's just going to wear clothes. I was like, that's good. It's a good start. We say yes for that, wearing clothes. So that's it. So that's the excitement. And then the rest of the weekend, well, he'll be recovering from his school disco, no doubt. And mucking around. So yeah, that's it. That's the kind of the happening at the beginning of February. And a grey day. It's a grey day. Lots of grey cloud and light rain. Grey cloud and light rain. That's what today's weather is. So let's do what we're here to do, dear friends, rather than me natter on about this. Let's do Friday Reads. Yes, it's Friday Reads, it's Friday Reads, it's a grey Friday here, it's Friday Reads. Hello, yes, this is Friday Reads. This is my weekly video where I tell you about the books that I have read last week and books that I'm planning to but probably won't get around to next week. So that's the excitement of this video. What did I do? I finished These Three Remain by Pamela Aden. So this is fan fiction. This is a novel of Fitzwilliam Darcy, gentlemen. So this is the last book in the Gentleman trilogy, which is fan fiction relating to Pride and Prejudice, which I had listened to. So did I show you this last week? I don't think so. I think I finished it on the Saturday. So yes, anyway, I finished that. Glorious thing. It's so lovely to read. Is it as good as Pride and Prejudice? No. But it's lovely to remain in that world and read things from Fitzwilliam Darcy's perspective, imagined perspective. It's wonderful. So I loved that. So I finished that. I then picked up Nicola Upson's Angel with Two Faces. This is a kind of cosy crime, but it's supposedly cosy crime. It's the second novel of Nicola Upson's series featuring Josephine Tey. So it's using the real-life novelist and playwright Josephine Tey, who is very well known for The Franchise Affair. It's using her as it kind of framed around it and imagined what her life and her relationships and everything. And the first one I read last year, which was An Expert in Murder, I read it on my Kindle. I really enjoyed it. Set in London in the 1930s. Yes, beginning of the 30s. So I really enjoyed this. This is the second one. It kind of takes place about a year later, and it takes place very much in Cornwall. Hence, it's a Cornish murder mystery featuring Josephine Tey. Had to read it. I bought it last year. I read a couple of pages of it last year, but I read it this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing with them. Maybe if I saw them cheaply somewhere, I might pick them up, because I love the covers and I love the idea of it. This just wasn't that cosy. I like kind of more challenging crime books, and this is one of those. It was a bit grim, to be honest. It wasn't cosy Cornwall, it was grim Cornwall, I have to say, and featured lots of kind of grimness. From the first page, I was like, "Ooh, this is quite grim," and the themes that were investigated were quite grim, and I just didn't really fancy it, to be honest. So I read it, but I read it kind of under sufferance. I realised about halfway through the week that I wasn't looking forward to picking it up. I was kind of just reading it, and so I then skimmed the rest to get to the end. Yes, so it was a bit harder than I was expecting to. I expected to kind of sink into it and enjoy it. That's not to say that you can't have crime books that you don't sink in to enjoy. Of course, I read those as well, but sometimes it's nice to know that's what you're going to get. I think this was kind of dressed up wrongly. There was kind of... some of the characters I didn't really like. Well, a lot of the characters I didn't really like. I just didn't like it, I think is kind of where I'm coming from. So, Nicola Upson, I'm really disappointed because she's a Cambridge and Cornish writer. I should absolutely adore it, but I didn't. So that was a shame. That was a disappointing read. That one. That's probably may well be my first disappointing read of the week, of the year. I read a romance novella, Agnes Moore's Wild Night by Alicia Cole. Excuse me, I'm going to bet that wasn't a review. So this is a romance set in the Highlands of Scotland. It's more of a novella than a I would say a novella. A very quick read, I would say. Yes, it was fine. Mel of Bookland Adventures said she wasn't sure how steamy it was because she doesn't read that many romance novels, and so I thought, well, I've got to give that a go, and it was cheap on the Kindle, so I got it. And yes, as I've read a lot steamier. That's the only thing to say. There is a little bit of sauce involved. More kind of, yearnings than kind of actual sauce. Although it was, but it was a short novel, so you got to the action quite quickly because otherwise it was over. But it was there was more kind of constantly feeling inflamed by the Highlander. That's kind of, there seemed to be a lot of kind of, and I'm feeling like this and I'm feeling like that, and I was like, yeah, okay, we're all regularly inflamed by Highlanders. That's not an uncommon experience, you little lady. I can barely go into town to go to the chemist before I'm inflamed by a Highlander. I can't say it. Maybe not when I go to the chemist, that would be wrong. But yes, so there was an awful lot of her kind of, inflamed and aroused and what have you. And I was like, yeah, move on. But it was fine. And would I read another Alicia Coles to give it a go? Yes, definitely. So I shall keep an eye on the prices on my Kindle and see if another one comes along that I'm inflamed by, and see if they're as regularly inflamed and aroused. And then I saw this book, again cheap on the Kindle, The Duke I Tempted by Scarlett Peckham. Scarlett Peckham, that's a great name, isn't it? So this is The Secrets of Charlotte Street, book 1. Book 2 is out as well. This is her first foray into romance territory. Obviously she is a romance reader, and so like this, there's a little bit of light restraint. So it has a bit, it's not kind of, it has a bit more kind of sauce in that way. That kind of way. Much better. If you want a bit of steam over the weekend, I could recommend the Duke I Tempted. Nothing too alarming that could make you think, I don't think I wanted to know. But lots of other stuff as well was good. Good tension. Oh yes. I thought this was far better. Yes, I liked it, and there's a lot of description of undergarments and underpinnings, which I didn't necessarily think that was necessary. But it's all very good, very entertaining. So I suggest, should you care for something this weekend, The Duke I Tempted by Scarlett Peckham, she can pick 'em, is worth a little watch, worth a little read for yourself there. So yes, I fully agree with that one. So, what am I currently reading? You're excited to know. Well, yes, I'm carrying on with my Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express, which I'm currently listening to, and I'm listening to an all-cast ensemble, and it's very good. Tom Conti is Hercule Poirot, and he's doing a fine Belgian accent. I have to say, it does slip every so often. He's less Hercule and more Tom, which as an audio I was surprised at that somebody didn't go, could you just say that bit again? And also he's with somebody else who's supposed to be French, and his accent definitely slips at times, so that's kind of amusing. But so that's my Agatha that I'm listening to at the moment. It's very pleasurable, as well as many podcasts. And then reading wise, oh yes, I am reading, yes, Low Country, Brexit on the Exit Coast by Tom Bolton. Not quite the romance read that you were imagining I would be casting this weekend. I could well pick up a romance at some other time to alleviate the walking, to kind of intersperse with a bit of walking, have a bit of romance and then walking. Who knows? That could be that kind of weekend. It's fine. There we go. It's fine. It's quite fascinating because the picture there of the country kind of gives you an idea of where they're walking, and also the descriptions. There's an awful lot of descriptions of the land touching the sea, touching the sky, touching the sea, touching flat, and being able to see for 5 miles, and you can see for 4 miles, and it's completely flat. And the walking at the moment on the Essex coast is flat. They're walking. So the book is that Tom Bolton sets out with Joe. We're not told who Joe is. I presume Joe is either girlfriend / wife, partner, let's say. So he's set out with Joe, and they have day jobs, but they go out every not every weekend, but there are a lot of weekends, and they've walked a lot of coastlines. It's non-fiction, so it's not actually, otherwise that's a hell of a dull plot. But it's non-fiction, so they walk coastlines, and they get a feel of the county as they're doing it. And they decided to walk the Essex coastline, and there's not that much kind of said about it, about the glory of the area's outstanding beauty of Suffolk, which borders Essex, or the Kentish coast, but not the Essex coast, which is very estuary, marshlands, flat. And I understand why there isn't that much written about it, but it's quite fascinating anyway. And I've read kind of a couple of books recently about either set in Essex or about Essex, so I thought, well, I'll have a read of that. Also, bringing in the idea of the current turmoil. This is set in 2016, so it's also about the general election in America, and the general election in the United States, and the general election in the UK, and about Brexit and all this, and how, and especially at the moment, all the Brexit discussions. I thought it would be quite fascinating. It's quite plainly written. There isn't much kind of flowery description or anything like that. It's very kind of plainly written. It's a little bit repetitive, but the landscape they're walking through at the moment is a little bit repetitive. And it's quite bleak. And I think that's because where they're walking is quite bleak. There's no kind of attempt to dress it up at all, which is quite interesting. I think it's quite fascinating. It's written it's quite large print. It's not large print, but it's quite large print. And then we have these photographs. And that kind of gives you an idea. A traffic sign in a, river dike, and of a military installation with a keep out sign. That's kind of tells you where we're up to. And we have these photographs and nothing refers to them. so graffitied building and marshland. So it kind of every so often says what these things are. You kind of can work out whereabouts it is, but quite often you don't have a reference point as to what that picture is trying to say, and they're in black and white, and it's quite bleak. So the whole of it is quite bleak. I've read 90 pages so far, so I'm that far through, out of 292. So I've got another 200 pages. This is Tom. Joe Healy is the photographer, so it must be his lady. There we are. So him and Joe are wandering around, and they keep going into pubs or trying to have a lunch somewhere and being very unfriendly. So the people that they meet are very unfriendly. So they're kind of going, oh, okay. So that's the kind of air of the book I've got so far. So that's the beginning bit of Essex that they've gone into, and it's not making me think, let's rush there and visit there. But it is interesting nevertheless. But it's fine. It's fine. Is kind of where I'm going with that. So Murder on the Orient Express is enjoyable, and Low Country, Brexit on the Essex coast is fine. I don't know what else I'm going to be reading. I have no other plans to read. Nothing else that's kind of leaping out at me at the moment, but I'm sure I will find something else to read. And that's it, good friends. That's it. That's the excitement of this week. I'm sorry it's not been very exciting, and I've probably gone on for. I wouldn't believe that I've managed to go on for nearly 20 minutes about nothing very exciting. But I have sat here in my bedroom talking to the laptop. It's amazing what I can witter on about. There we go, BookTube. It's been lovely talking to you. Can I thank everybody that tried to send us snow for last week? The husband was very pleased that so many of you were trying to send us snow. It would end up to be water and then we'd have to kind of snowify it, as somebody said one time, which I thought was beautiful. I hope the polar vortex, God, that sounds grim, has gone for all those people that are experiencing it. I gather there was going to be a big change in the weather, so those that were going to be experiencing the polar vortex should now be dealing with a lot of melting snow. So I hope everybody's fine and all's well with everybody. And I look forward to speaking to you next Friday. Let's do this again, BookTube.